Hey guys, it's Sean from Solis Review. Today we're going to be going over the Wolverine premium format figure by Sideshow Collectables. He's not a new statue, had him for a couple years now, but just kind of going through my backlog here and trying to get some reviews on the board for you guys. So we will start with this guy. I'm sure many of you have seen him. Wolverine, probably the most famous of all X-Men mutants, one of the key characters for Marvel Comics. He is a mutant that has feral animal powers, super healing, and retractable claws. They are actually bone claws, and he worked with the government and had himself modified with adamantium on his claws and his skeleton, making him near indestructible. I'm sure he doesn't really require any backstory for you. Concept-wise, I don't believe this suit comes specifically from any comic. It is Sideshow's adaptation of his yellow suit. I really dig the concept that, you know, I like most of what Sideshow does when they make that their own interpretation. I think it's fantastic. For my mind, it jumps right into what I would visualize based on some of the comics for his yellow suit, combined with memories of the animated series from the 90s. So for me, it just takes it to the next level. Let's go with paint. Paint, I think, is really good. I love what they did. Let's start from the bottom here. For the base, it is a sentinel hand. It's an interesting design with the fingers that are cut by him. Some are backwards and some are forward. I think that the paint on it, it looks like what you would expect for a giant robot hand that's been cut up. A lot of the cuts have good silver effects on the edges. The jewel in the center it seems gem-like, or, you know, something that would be in a machine. Now, going up here on the boots, I do definitely like the paint that they use here. There's different dimensions here because it's not just the color of what would be the paint. There's a bit of a dusting slash liquid elements that are on it. I think that it looks like he ran through a lot of dirty puddles in this fight with this Sentinel. It looks great to me. Suit, the paint on it is great for the yellow. It's not one-dimensional. In the areas that would be creasing, they used darker tones. They're shadowing. The knee pads look worn. I am definitely a fan of the paint used throughout the suit. As you go up, that texture follows through the abdomen onto the back. I did on mine have a bit of a paint chip on both the blue area of the back of his suit, and it looks like on the gem there's a very small fleck here. So I'm going to ding them on paint just a little bit here because it's not perfect, but what the work that was done in it, I think, is very admirable and looks good. The claws, I personally would like if the claws were metallic shiny instead of just a dark dull gray, but from what I understand, that can be really difficult to mass produce. So just what I would have, like if I had it to a customizing artist, that's what I would do, is definitely bring in more metallic on claws. Looking up here, the arms, I think they look great for skin tone. There's some shadow around the veins on the arm. For the texture on the arms that simulates the hair, I think that works well. There's no way they're gonna really sculpt that successfully, I think, to have it come off the skin, so it looks good. Elbows show wear. When I look at the shoulder pads here, I like the weathering that they put on it. I find it kind of interesting that it's really the only place other than his boots that we see weathering. but I mean, it works. It kind of looks like he's just been in a ton of battles. Maybe between costumes he swapped over his shoulder blades for some reason. So belt looks good. You see texture in the stitching. It doesn't necessarily look like leather, but it works for what it is. I think it matches the same as the leather texture they were going for on his mask. I think that the texture looks great on the mask. It actually looks like you could understand, I guess, leather to be shaped like that, or some sort of fake leather. Let's go with the facial expression. I think looks great. I could have used a little bit of a clear coat on the teeth. I think that would bring a little bit more realism. I've seen several people do that independently. As far as facial details, I think it's great that you can see facial hair coming out of the edge of the face mask. It kind of makes you see a few more details that you might not have assumed, just not a clean cut like that. So it's great. Eyes look clean. There is a EX version that has an unmasked portrait that flows over the back of his costume like a hoodie. I did not get that. That sold out before I ever started getting the statue, so I do not have that. You can see a seam, but because of the nature of he's wearing a costume, it just looks like he pulled a mask over, so it works. So sculpt wise, I kind of went over when I was going over paint, but I think they did a great job on the scale of the Sentinel hand. I've heard of a lot of issues for people when it comes to him leaning. I do not have any leaning. I very much appreciate this. I would like to think that maybe they repaired whatever issue was causing that for some people. So mine does not lean. Thank goodness. Heard of other people doing that. Okay, so we've gone over concept, paint. The design looks great. I will provide some close-up shots before the video begins so that you guys can go over it. The pieces are a hand, body, head, and then base. Base is very heavy. Looks great though. The weight on the piece is surprising for its size. All in all, it's a very stable piece. So overall, because of the paint, I would knock it just a little bit. So I think it's a real winner of a piece. It's, other than a few customs I've seen, it's my favorite Wolverine. So it's probably my favorite licensed Wolverine. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it for starter pieces, for definitely having a solid Wolverine in your collection to begin an X-Men line. Remember guys to please like, subscribe, share. Let's get this channel going. And I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you for taking the time. This is Sean with Solis Review. Have a great night.